Alright, how's it going, everybody? So something a little bit different today. My uncle's asked me to repair his residential furnace. I have little to no experience in this. I'm not a furnace resi guy, nor do I claim to be. So I'm literally going to use the schematic and treat this thing like it's a deep fryer and go through the sequence and see if we can find the problem. Alright, so let's just see what we have here. We have a combustion blower, just like a deep fryer, little gas valve, some limits, hot surface igniter. You can't really see that one. And then here's our board and our thermostat. So you can see a lot of similarities. So let's fire up and see what's going on. So I've jumpered out the thermostat. 2 red flashes, so we'll look up what that means. Combustion blower is running. That's good news. And looks like our igniter is not glowing. So let's go pull up a schematic and let's go see what's going on. Alright, so let's just start by identifying some loads. So first thing was the venter motor. We've seen that was running. And it looks like we have a black, red, white, and green. So we probably potentially have a multi-speed here, which is fine. So on our fryer, this would be our combustion blower. So let's just draw this out. Comes right to here. Let's get our neutral in there really quickly, which will be our white. Second from the left. Pin number 3. Bring this in really quickly. And comes in somewhere right here. Okay, and then next, we're probably looking for our pressure switches to close. And then once that proves, our hot surface igniter should get power right here. Alright, so if we're not getting power to this hot surface igniter, on pins 1 and 2, we're going to go investigate this pressure switch. Alright, so let's go ahead here and test our voltage on those pins 1 and 2 at the board. As you can see, I got my leads in there, black and white wires. And we're getting 83 volts down to 58, back up to 83 volts. Alright, so that's some weird voltage there. I feel like we should be getting 120 or whatever our supply is. So let me go ahead and do an ohm test here. So generally, on igniters, on like the fryers, combis, we go anywhere from 4 ohms up to 80 ohms. So let's ohm this guy out. And let's see if we're within that range. So we're just going to obviously disconnect it from the circuit so we're not backfeeding. And we're getting a really high reading here, 27k ohm. That's a super high reading. So this igniter is definitely bad and potentially the board. All right, so I just did a quick search of the part, IGN 00145, and it is actually an 80 volt igniter. So it looks like we were getting the correct voltage to this igniter. All right, so I just want to quickly ohm out the igniter, right at the igniter because there's a harness. So let's just eliminate all the wiring in between. We could have a bad harness, Molex connector, whatever. So let's go right to the igniter and test from there. All right, so it's disconnected. Let's hook up our meter and we're getting 33k ohm. All right, so this igniter is definitely bad. Looks like we have some kind of water leakage here too from the air conditioner, which we'll have to look into when we fire the AC in a couple months. But yeah, the igniter's bad. All right, so our igniter is getting 80 volts, which apparently is the correct voltage. So let me try to draw this. These lines are super tight, but here is our connector 1, which is our BK5, and our W5, which is where we checked our voltage. That's coming through here. Bang, bang, straight shot. Okay, so we know definitely we need an igniter. Okay, we don't need a control board, which is good for the customer / my uncle. And then lastly, the last thing I want to test is going to be this gas valve right here. So we're going to test this gas valve, make sure it's good so we're not making multiple trips to the supplier. The chances of both of them failing are not likely, but let's just make sure. So it's probably running off this 24 volt transformer here. So let's just draw this super quickly. And this is going right into our board. And then the board is most likely going to be supplying 24 volts to our gas valve. So let's go get that tested really quickly. All right, so let's test our Molex connector here really quickly. And we'll give it a couple seconds. Let's cut the scene. And we're getting gas pressure, 2 inches water column, and 26 volts. So our gas valve is opening and getting voltage. Alright, so I got an igniter. Let's go ahead and pop it in. And you're not supposed to touch the hot surface igniter area, so we'll do our best not to get our fingerprints and stuff on that. And let's press fast forward. So we got the new igniter in there. Let's ohm her out. Like I said, usually on a fryer or a combi, it's 4 to 80 ohms. We're getting 16 ohms. So 27k ohm was definitely no good on this one. All right, so let's go fire up. Let's see if we get ignition here. So combustion blower running, check. Okay, that'll close our pressure switches. And now our igniter, hot surface igniter, should glow bright red, bright orange, whatever you want to call it. There we go. You can see your little orange light in there. Next step is our gas valve should be getting our 26 volts. And bang, we have ignition. So we are all good here. Let's make sure our flame sense picks it up. I'm assuming flame sense is 3 to 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds, but alright, so something completely different today. Okay, by no means am I an expert on these residential furnaces. I don't work on them. I don't know much about them, but I do know how to read schematics. So based on the schematics, I took that and I just used the knowledge I have with fryers and combis, and we just went through the sequence. Okay, so we have a combustion blower. That always turns on first. Then we have a proving switch for it, our limits, and then once all that's proved, we should have our hot surface igniter should get powered. And then we get gas. Okay, so if we're not getting power to the hot surface igniter, let's work backwards and see what's going on. Is the limit open? Is the combustion blower not running? Maybe the proving switch for the combustion blower is not closing. Okay, the sequence of operations may change here and there, but you know, we have the basics. We have the roadmap. This probably took me like 20 minutes to troubleshoot, 10 minutes studying the schematic, figuring out what everything does, and then 10 minutes of actual troubleshooting with the meter. Someone who works on these every day could probably figure that out in 5 minutes, which is fine. I don't work on these and I don't have much knowledge on them, and I had no service manual. Okay, and thank goodness for Google there, because I almost ordered a board that was like $600. It showed me it's 80 volts. I was like, oh, this is perfect. Okay, so we need an igniter, and we knew the igniter was bad from the ohms. Okay, so I've been stressing the point on schematic work, and everyone's just improving on their schematics. Okay, so on the hot side, there's going to be a lot of equipment that's not from North America now, and we can't get tech support, we can't get manuals, but we get the schematic on the unit. So based on that, we can make our sequence of operations. So it's super important that everyone's just continuously improving on their schematics and not relying on tech support. And what I've been stressing is be a troubleshooter, don't be a part changer.